Hello, cheapskaters. I'm hoping it says, oh yes, no, sorry, it's been one of those days. I wasn't sure we were going to make it tonight. Okay, I'm Kath Armstrong, creator of the Cheapskates Club, where our goal is to live life debt-free, cashed up and laughing. If this is your first time visiting our channel, welcome. I'm really pleased to meet you. Please feel free to join the chat. It's really easy. We're a friendly bunch. Delaney is our moderator and she'll be back in a moment. I noticed. She was popping off. She'll be back in a moment. But everyone's really friendly, so please feel free to join in. And if, of course, you're a regular, I'm really glad to see you back again. Okay, let me see. Lots of comments. We've got 32 people watching already. Excellent. Estelle's going through her freezer. It's a good night to be going through the freezer, Estelle. It is so muggy. I've got my hair pinned back. It was so frizzy. I thought, oh no, it just looked like I'd stuck my finger in a socket. And Yvonne's got nectarines, yum. And plums, yum. Okay. Hello, Wild Woman. Hello, Paula. Glad you could join us live. Hi, Annabelle. Hello, Yvonne. Okay. Hello, Evelyn. And Mrs. Dilligaff. Hello, Colleen and Mary. Everyone is early, I know, and I was running a bit late. It's been a bit of a chaotic day. Greg Evans. Rosalie, nice to see you. Aradia. G5 Salmon. Charlene. Okay. Hello, Charlene. Okay. All right, I'll be back to go through all these later, as usual, with questions. Put them all in capitals so they stand out. And when I'm finished, we'll come back and go through them. If you will do what we've been doing the last few weeks and get to the end of our show, if you need to go or you want to go, then you can go and we'll just keep chatting amongst ourselves. We'll have an after show. Natter. So, hello Tegan, hello Gloria, hello Kylie. Tegan can't believe it's 5th of December. It's just another day, Tegan. And hello Trina. Margarita in Sydney. Okay. It has been very hot and muggy, and it was really hot last night. It was 17 when I got up at 6 o'clock this morning. Hi, Amanda. Okay, now, canning plans. Let me figure out, what I've done. And as soon as I figure out what I've done, we'll be right. If I disappear, guys, the camera has been turning itself off all afternoon as I've been trying to get set up. So if I disappear, please don't panic. I will be back. I just have to click until the camera comes back. I don't know why. I used it this morning. It was fine. Went to get set up this afternoon, this evening, about 5 o'clock, and it just kept turning itself off. And so I had an emergency call out to number one son to come and rescue his mother because, you know, she's not very good at this technology stuff. And, oh no, why is it doing that? Okay, here goes. You'll just have to bear with me. Sorry, guys. I want to talk about my canning plan. I was going to leave it, and then I thought, you know what? Before too long, the year will be away from me, and I'll be going, what am I planning? What am I planning? What am I doing? And this last couple of years with an actual written plan of what I wanted to preserve, whether it be pressure canning or bottling or whatever, dehydrating, has worked really, really well. So now I think I've got everything back where it's supposed to be. Fingers crossed. Okay, looks like we're all go. Oh, it's so scary. Millennials are good for tech. Tech is anyone would be better than me with tech Excel. Seriously, you know, it's a wonder I can. Well, I can't set the alarm on the clock radio because I don't know how. Because it's not on my side of the bed, so I don't have to worry about it. All right. Anyway, over the last couple of years, I've had a written canning plan. I think I've shared with you in the past, and it's worked really, really well. And what I've discovered is I absolutely just love it. So with 2023 fast disappearing and spring's already here and lots of gardening's happening, my garden's going crazy, and my mind has been too, with how I'm going to preserve what I've got in the garden and hopefully any excess that I can get cheaply, because I really want to be less freezer reliant for food storage. And right now I'm not using the freezers nearly as much as I used to. Happily filling the cupboard with water bathed or pressure canned or dehydrated foods, whether it's fruits, vegetables, meats, doesn't matter. I'm just loving being able to go, open the cupboard, take out a jar, and it's done. Dinner is done. Now, it was pretty much that easy with the freezer too, except that you had to think about it earlier in the day so it could defrost, because I'm not very good at defrosting in the microwave either. So really happy with the way the canning plan has worked for me, because during the week I cook for 4, sometimes 5 if Hannah's down, sometimes it's 6 over the weekend, depends who's here and who's in and out. Sometimes it's more. So I need a good supply of food in the house anyway, but a good supply of ready food. I'm thinking of my canning, my preserving as ready meals. You know, those, you go to the supermarket and you pick them up, and I don't know, you see they're in the chiller cabinet, and there's butter chicken and rice in a neat little package or whatever. And it's about $8, I think. Well, I had to get 4 of those. That's $32 on one meal. Not wouldn't work. But I think of my food storage, my canning, my preserving like that. And I think that perhaps most households feed more than they bank on occasionally, you know, and right now everybody's grocery budget is really taut. It's tight, it's stretching, it's going to snap soon. And unexpected mouths to feed can sort of throw it into a bit of chaos. So I'm really grateful for portion control, because if I'm making a recipe for 6, I get 6 serves out of it, and for freezer meals, because they help enormously. And I was in the canning cupboard over the weekend. I was putting away potatoes that I had done. So good. Peeled them, cut them, actually made wedges, peeled them, cut them, rinsed them, dried them off, and I don't know why I did that, probably not necessary. Put them into the jars, put the water in, pressure canned them, and we had them last night with our dinner. Just delicious, really, really good. So I was really happy with that, because I don't know how much. The potatoes were about 50 cents a kilo when I bought them, and I have no idea how much a kilo of wedges from the shops will be, but more than 50 cents. So I was in the cupboard putting away the potatoes, And it occurred to me that even with the top-up canning I've done through this year, and I've done a lot of top-up canning through this year, that cupboard needs a lot more in it to give me the quantity that I'm comfortable with. And I say I'm comfortable with. You don't have to be. You do your pantry, I'll do mine, and we'll all be happy. Because there's no right or wrong size to a pantry or a stockpile or food storage that's universal. There's just not. There's a lot of lists floating around out there that say if you've got family of 4, you need to have 427 kilos of black beans and 3,000 kilos of rice bubble, whatever. They're very general. And every time I look at one of those lists, it does not add up for us and the way we eat and the way we cook and our lifestyle. So they're very general. People look at them and go, oh my goodness, for a start, we'd never be able to afford to buy it. And where would I put it? And we don't like half this stuff. So they're very general lists. So there's no one list of anything that's going to be right for everybody. There's no universal list. So you do what's right for your pantry, I'll do what's right for mine, and we can compare notes because we will learn from each other. But in saying that, our families are different, so our pantries are going to be different. But I also firmly believe that everyone not only needs, but everyone should have at least a month's worth of food in their home at any one time. It's not a lot. A month's worth of food is not a lot. A month, though, is long enough for you to recover from a mild illness or an unexpected hiccup in finances. It gives you a little bit of breathing room if disaster strikes. So thinking about the size of your pantry, the size of your stockpile, whether it be home preserved or bought, doesn't matter, is really important. But I really think a month minimum for everybody would be wise. Okay, so I have to show you something. I was about to have a drink and I have to show you. I have to show you my Christmas mug. See my Christmas mug? I have a new Christmas mug. It's huge. I can't fill it because I can't drink it, but it is just, isn't it pretty? It's my new Christmas mug. I'm loving it because it's Christmas. It's Christmas, folks. I don't care what anyone says, it's Christmas. It's December, it's Christmas. Okay. Now, I really am enjoying having the canned food, the water bath food, the dehydrated food on the pantry shelf. It's ready to just heat and eat or use it in a recipe. And I have to say, I'm really looking forward to being able to turn one of the freezers off, and hopefully that will happen before Christmas. Fingers crossed. And then I thought, oh no, if we have a bumper garden, and it's sort of looking really good out there, I may need to turn that freezer back on to hold all the veggies and fruit until I can can them or dehydrate them. I'm never going to get down, am I, on freezers? But it's so good to just be able to go to the pantry shelf instead of the freezer when I'm preparing a meal, and it might be breakfast or it could be lunch or tea, just a snack. But if I can go to the cupboard and just take it out and it's ready, oh my gosh, that's so good. And of course, when we're away, we have canned food. It means that we eat even better than we normally do. We eat well when we're away. But it also means that we're not relying so much on the fridge, so we're not relying on the second battery so much, and we're not relying on the sun so much to charge it. Anyway, all of that means that for the next 3 months or so, the canner and the dehydrator probably won't be put away. And I think I can live with that. I've done another jar and lid inventory. I'm pretty right for lids for the moment, but jars, I don't think you could ever have too many jars that are suitable for pressure canning. I've got lots of jars for water bathing, lots for jams and pickles and things. It's my pressure canning jars that I need to keep an eye on. Now, the good thing about those is that as soon as they're empty, they can be cleaned and refilled. And that's pretty much what I've been doing all year long. I have bought a couple of extra flats of jars, but they're so expensive at the moment. So expensive that I'm being very conscious of what goes in and the sizes that I'm using for what. And I'll explain a bit more about that in a moment. Now, I will say I absolutely love my pressure canner. It's a Presto 23 quart, 21 litre. And right now, Ozfarmer have them on sale for $279.57. Great price. Absolutely great price. Mine was a lot more than that, and it was on sale when I bought it. And I'm sort of tempted to splurge and just go, you know what? Merry Christmas, Kath, and buy myself another one. Because there are days when, you know, having an extra pressure canner would be delightful. But I want to freeze dry first, so I'm not going to splurge. I'm going to keep saving my money so I can get that freeze dryer. But if you've been looking for a pressure canner, something that you've been thinking about, then check out Ozfarmer. I'm not affiliated with them in any way. It's just something that I'm aware of, and I do like dealing with them because they're really nice. Now, I mentioned that I've discovered the last 2 years of following the canning plan that we need more. I feel like Oliver Twist. Please, I want more. Only I want more filled jars, not more gruel. And I say I want more because I'm just loving having it ready to go. Honestly, I don't know why I waited so long to try pressure canning. I've dehydrated for years. I've water bathed for years. I've done the Fowler's Vacola method for years. But I waited and waited to get into pressure canning, and I don't know why I did. So on my canning plan, because I want more, I've pretty much doubled the quantity of most things. And that is because we've been eating from the canning cupboard. It makes sense to use your stockpile, use your food storage, use it and replace, so you're turning it over all the time. Don't just build up a stockpile and then let it sit. It'll go stale. You don't want it to go stale. You want to be able to use it. And if it's just sitting there, it's kind of wasted money. So I've adjusted, I've added a few extra things that I've discovered this year that we quite like canned or dehydrated or water bath. And I've fiddled with the number of pints and quarts. Now, pints and quarts, that's the size of the jars. And I say pints and quarts because the jars are pint jars and quart jars. Yes, I know that we are metric in Australia, but for the purposes of pressure canning, we stick with imperial measurements. It's not difficult, just pints and quarts. Don't even try and convert it because that will just do your head in. Just go pints and quarts. So just thought I'd put that out there because every time I say pints and quarts, someone picks me up on, but we're in Australia and we should be talking in mils. Well, go right ahead and try and convert it. I can't. So I've adjusted the number, switched things around, and that depends on what each thing's used for, because sometimes quarts are the best size for me to store things in, especially if I'm doing a pasta sauce or pie filling or stew or a chicken pie filling or something like that, then quarts are a good size for that. On the other hand, soups go better in pint jars because a pint is enough for 2 really good serves of soup. So I can pack them to take away with us, and 1 jar is 1 meal for us, or it's 2 lunches, and sometimes 3 lunches, depending on what I'm doing for me during the week. So soups, I'm sticking with pints mostly. Some of the family soups, like the minestrone or whatever, I'll do in quarts because the boys don't mind those, but they're not so keen on pumpkin, and I don't mind. I like pumpkin soup. The other thing I've done is up the amount of corned beef that I'm canning or plan to can. Oh my goodness. If you have never had pressure canned corned beef, it is mouth-wateringly tender. It is so moist. I don't mind eating it straight out of the jar. Just open the jar and eat a chunk. You know, it's already cooked. You don't need to heat it. So you can drain it and have it with salad. You can drain it and put it on sandwiches. You can make Reubens with it really easily because it's already done. You don't need to heat it, but if you do, just tip it into a pot and warm it on the stove or in the microwave. By the time your peas are done, so's your meat. It's really easy to do. So, all right, enough about me. Let me flip back over here. Oops, I'm lost. Sorry. There we go. Oh, gosh. Right. Okay, just checking, guys. Just checking. Lots of comments tonight. 54 people watching. That's really lovely. Hi, Yusha. Sorry, guys. Just checking. Just checking. Hi, Maureen. Here we go. Pickles. Yes, I do a lot of pickles. Beetroot at the moment. I'm hoping my beetroot will look as pretty as someone hasn't seen Annabelle's over on Tuesday Afternoon Club. Her beetroot looked absolutely gorgeous today. The colour of it was superb. I'm hoping mine will be the same. Beetroots, you can do fermentations, you can do your sauerkrauts, things like that. Hello, Sylvia. Okay. Hello, Cheryl. Hello, Hev. Cold. I'm very cold in Germany too. I've been thinking, I have friends in Germany. I've been thinking about them. Amanda jars are very expensive in Australia. I know. I laugh when I laugh to myself. I don't laugh at them, but you know, people in the USA or Canada complain about jars at $10 a dozen, and I'm thinking you try 50. So Tegan wants a freeze dryer. Yes, I'm desperate for a freeze dryer. Just do it. Do it like you do ugly chicken, Cheryl. So we don't like the fat on corned beef, so I just slice that off and then cut it into chunks. Now, what I did discover was bigger chunks. So probably I don't know, 5 centimeters, 2 inches sort of cubes. Preserves better than the smaller ones. But just jam it in your jar like you do ugly chicken. Put the flat on, put the ring on, put it in, and it's 75 minutes for pints and 90 minutes for quarts. So good. So good. And if you can get corned beef on sale, great way to preserve it. And you can do a whole lot in one batch, and it doesn't take up freezer room. We actually took some. Why is that mucking up? We actually took some away with us in November. So we had corned beef with mustard sauce and mashed potatoes around the campfire. It was delicious. I love Weck jars. The company has gone out of business, as in the original family-owned company. It's been taken over by someone else. I haven't bought any since it's been taken over, but I love Weck jars. Absolutely love them. They're an odd setup. If you're used to using ball jars, they're really quite bizarre because you've got the jar, then you've got the jar, then you've got the rubber gasket, then the glass lid, and then you clip it. It's a bit like a Fowler's Vacola setup, except that Fowler's have the metal lid which sort of lips over and their clip is different. But I love the Weck jars, and so easy to open because there's a little tongue on the gasket. So once you want to open it, you just pull the tongue and you hear the and you know the jar's open. You can get resealable lids for them too if you need to, but I do love Weck jars. Hello, Pat. Happy birthday for the other day. Bigger size chunks. Yep. The first lot I did small, and it was fine. It's just that as I was taking it out of the jar, it crumbled up. So it was more like a corned beef hash, which nobody cares about as long as it tastes good. But the bigger chunks are definitely better. Definitely better. I do not know what this is doing. It's mucking up on me something shocking tonight. Oh, I'm so jealous. I am so jealous. 23 cases. Oh, you're always busy anyway. I am so jealous. Oh my gosh, 23 cases. That'll just about do my plan, wouldn't it? Now we better get back to this. All right. So, would you like to know what's in the canning plan? What's in the canning plan? It is pretty much straightforward. We'll start with meat. So I've got ugly chicken, and I've listed that I want 200 pints. Now, don't panic because I'm not going to do 200 pints all at once. Well, it'd take me too long anyway because I can only fit 15, 16, 17 at a time in my canner. So it would take me a long time. But I think 200 pints. Now, we eat chicken a lot, and that's really not a lot of chicken. For mince, though, a lot more. I want 100 pints of mince and 150 quarts of mince. Again, because they will have different uses. Now again, not doing it all at once. Right now I can get mince for $9 a kilo from Woolworths using my 10% off once a month, or it's $9.99 all the time at Costco, but you do have to factor in your Costco membership. So Woolies will probably get my mince money. They'll probably get my chicken money too. I think the chicken is cheaper by about $1 than Costco as well if you use your everyday extra or your 10% off. I want to do 50 pints of dehydrated mince, mainly for when we travel, when we go away, just because it's compact. I can vacuum seal it and it can get tossed around. It doesn't matter. I'm always a bit conscious of my jars when we're traveling, that they might get broken. So before we leave, I go through the laundry and I go through the boys' wardrobes and I pull out all the odd socks, and every jar goes into a sock and gets packed into the drawers in our camper so that they don't break. Because I would be very upset if I broke a jar, and not just because of the mess. Now, I've got 50 pints of sausage patties, and these are Garden Pat's recipe, the sausage patties. My boys love them, absolutely love them. So they will do a fake sausage and egg muffin thing from Golden Arches, and they'll have the English muffin and the slice of cheese and the egg and the sausage patty, and they think they are in heaven. And so they bottle up, they can up really, really well. And again, it saves freezer room. Now, it's Pat's recipe. I got the idea to can them from Pam from Rose Red Homestead. She has a video on how to pressure can the patties, and it's really interesting to watch. And corned beef, I want to do 50 pints and 50 quarts. Quarts, because if I'm feeding everyone, we'll need a quart. Pints, if I want to do a hash, if I want to just do lunch with salad or something. For Wayne and I, when we go away, that will do 2 meals for us. So that sort of thing. The same with roast beef. And I'm saying roast beef, but I just buy, I think it's called export rump. It's disgusting. If you tried to cook it as rump steak on the barbecue or something, it's tough as old boots, and it's just hideous. But it cans up beautifully. So, and when you serve it with gravy, drain it, warm it, serve it with gravy and roast veggies, nobody knows that it's come out of a jar. And stew, I will do 50 pints of stew and 50 quarts of stew. Same deal, but just use the stew meat. Now, I don't add any thickeners to the stews until I add the gravy when I'm warming it, because you don't want any thickeners, any flour or anything in your jars if you are pressure canning them. And your meats need to be pressure canned. The other thing I tried this year that was a little bit different was chili. Making my chili and canning it. Great idea. Absolutely brilliant. We wanted chili and cornbread. By the time, it took longer to mix the cornbread than it did to warm the jar of chili. Great idea. We wanted quick tacos. There you go. A jar of chili and a jar of taco beans. Perfect. Or haystacks. If I wanted to do fancy haystacks, a jar of chili. Perfect. And the other thing was meatballs. I wasn't sure about them, but a bit like the sausage patties, did one batch. Perfect. Absolutely love them. The trick is to cook them before you put them in the jar, so they have a nice crust on them. They're nice and caramelized, and I do that in the oven. So I put a rack in my baking dish, load it up with meatballs, bung it in the oven, Rotate them every 20 minutes or so until I think they're cooked through. Don't overcook them. You don't want them crispy, but you want that nice caramelization on the outside. Put them in the jars, add your stock, and can them, and they are delicious. So they make great spaghetti and meatballs. They make great meatball subs. They make great finger food on toothpicks. They're really, really good. Really, really good. So I want to do more of those if I can this year. We like them and we eat them. And I did run out of meatballs and chili this year. Moving on, I've got soup, chicken, minestrone, pumpkin, pints and quarts. Like I said, pint serves 2, quart does 4. I like soup for my lunch in winter. Pumpkin soup is really good if you thin it with a little cream or a little milk or a little evaporated milk and pour it over ravioli. It's delicious. Really nice. Add a little garlic, sprinkle some parmesan on top. You have a really nice meal. And sometimes when Coles or Woolies has the Latina pumpkin ravioli on half price, I will buy some and put it in the freezer. I'm never going to be able to turn that freezer off, am I? Keep filling it, but put it in the freezer. So soup's just handy to have. It's easy to do. It's a good meal. It's a good snack if it's really cold. You've been working outside, you need to come in. Soups are good. They're easy to do. They're inexpensive. So there's no point in not doing them. And they're nicer than the tins. And Hannah was just saying, must have been Wendy was here yesterday. No, what day is today? Sunday. No, Saturday. I don't know. What day was Wendy here? Wendy was here. And Hannah was saying that the Campbell's soups haven't been on sale, haven't been on half price for a long time. Usually they're on at least twice for both stores over winter. I didn't notice them this winter, but I didn't really need them and I don't use them a lot. So, but Hannah noticed that they hadn't been on sale for a long time. So if you've got your own soup on the shelf, you don't need a can. Beans. Just pints, and I'll do what we call them ranch beans. It came a recipe from Sutton's Days. Lisa from Sutton's Days does these beans. Just delicious. And taco beans. Now, taco beans are just kidney beans, and I add to a pint jar, I add 3 teaspoons of Moo taco seasoning, and that is perfectly all right to add because it is just the spices. There are no fillers in the Moo. Don't use a packet of taco seasoning. There's starches and all sorts of things in them that you don't want to try and pressure can with. And soup beans. So soup beans will just be kidney beans and borlotti beans and garbanzos or whatever I've got in a mixture in stock in the jar ready to go because they're done then. They're so tender when they come out of the canner, ready to eat, just delicious. You can do your garbanzos or your chickpeas and have them ready just to whiz to make your hummus. You don't need to buy a tin, and if you pressure can them, you're not doing the continual long soaking and the draining and the soaking and the draining and then the boiling and the draining and the boiling and the draining. You can just give them a really good rinse, pop them in your pressure canner, pop your stock or your water in and let them go. Really, really easy. I want to do more vegetables too. I've absolutely loved being able to open the cupboard and take out a jar of mushrooms or a jar of carrots and they're already glazed, or the potatoes for wedges or potato salad. Your canned potatoes make the best potato salad. It is just delicious. When I was a little girl, so it is going back quite a while, when I was a little girl, my mother used to buy Heinz potato salad in a tin, and we loved it. Then she started making her own, and we loved it. But I've never forgotten the potato salad in a tin because the potatoes had a different texture. They had the texture of your canned potatoes. Really nice. And if you add you can add your mint, your onion, whatever, your dressing, or your mayo, use whatever. It is delicious. So home canned potato salad. The other thing I've done is pumpkin and sweet potato this year. Again, with the sweet potato, bigger chunks. It gets very soft, so you want bigger chunks, and I just drain it and then pop it in the baking dish with the other veggies when I'm doing a roast, or I will mash it and put some butter through it and sprinkle it with a little nutmeg and put it on the side as a veggie. But sweet potato cans up really, really well. And at the moment, it's pretty cheap. It's about $1 a kilo, which for us is really cheap. I haven't tried growing it. I did try once and it didn't work, so I sort of gave up on it. But I might try again. I've got pumpkins down the west side of our house. Hopefully they'll ramble and turn into lots of lovely pumpkins and I won't have to buy pumpkins. All the tomato things, of course. So diced tomatoes and tomato sauce, pasta sauce, all that sort of thing is on the list. And I've upped those to 200 of each, 100 pints of each. I want to do some, I was going to say sun-dried, but they're not going to be sun-dried. They're semi-dried tomatoes, which I'll put through the dehydrator again. If I can get a couple of loads through the dehydrator, that'll give me 14 trays. That'll make me very happy. That'll give us enough for a year or so, and I'll be happy. The other thing I want to do is, because hopefully I will have lots, I'm looking at my garden, I will have lots of tomatoes. I'll have lots of tomato skins, so I will be able to dehydrate them and whiz them up for powder, which is really, 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 really handy. And then celery and capsicum. Now, I've got plenty of celery. Celery's been really cheap here for a couple of months, and every time it's like 3 bunches for $2, I go and get 6 bunches and chop it up and whiz it through the dehydrator. So I have lots of celery. That's just so convenient for throwing into soup or stew or whizzing into a powder and adding to something if I need it to. I put some in a quiche the other day to flavour it. Works really well, the powder. And capsicum, same deal. I got them really, really cheap. So into the dehydrator they went, and they are done. I'm of two minds about jams and marmalades. There's still quite a few on the shelves. We're out of cordial, but it's one of those things, if I make it, we drink it. If I don't make it, we don't really miss it so much. It's just nice to have on the shelf, and so they're not a high priority. I have a couple of bags of berries still in the freezer to use up, so they will become jam probably. But pretty much that's my canning plan. There's still plenty of tomato relish and zucchini pickles, and I've done hamburger pickles. What else? Beetroot. When the beetroot comes in, I will be doing the beetroot, hopefully. I can't wait. Can't wait. It's got to be better than what we can buy, because I opened a tin of beetroot a couple of weeks ago and it was just grey. It wasn't that beautiful deep burgundy. It was just grey, and I'm like, Wayne and the kids ate it. I couldn't bring myself to eat it. It looked so bad. So they're the sorts of things, I'll still be dehydrating the rosemary and the spring onions, oranges. If we get an excess of oranges, I'll put more through because wowzers are those things expensive. Dehydrated oranges. They're so good. I just eat them, eat the slices. They're a great snack. And of course, while I can get lamb cheap, it's about $8 a kilo for a leg. Corned beef's $9 a kilo. While I can get it cheap, and I say cheap considering the prices it has been, I will be going like crazy to process as much as I can. Well, before the prices go up and before the tomatoes start coming in, because once the tomatoes start, it's sauce season, and I'm pretty sure I'll be going flat chat during sauce season. I'm really looking forward to it. I cannot wait. I am so looking forward to it. All right, now let me go back over here. Ooh, a great balsamic button recipe. That sounds good. I love balsamic. You can use choco, or you can use quince in your pies, in your fruit pies. If you have quinces, and remember quinces take a lot of cooking, but you can use those in your fruit pies quite easily, Cheryl. Choco is really good. If you can grow choco, you've got it, steam it, and then make a curry sauce to put over the top of it. It's just delicious. All right, sorry. Oh, Hev remembers the Heinz potato salad. Yeah, I was a little girl. I was only young, and I don't know why Mum would buy it because she made everything. But I just remember having this potato salad in a tin, and it must have struck me as being particularly exotic or sophisticated or something. And I've never forgotten it. But that's what the potato salad I make with the canned potatoes tastes like. Yeah, that's a great idea. Maybe I could try that too. So we do like, I am absolutely loving. I do not know why I waited so long to get a pressure canner. I am loving it. Choco pickles, yum. Kylie, I've asked a couple of times about electric pressure canners coming to Australia, and the answer is a flat no. They won't change the whatever it is, the power. They just won't do it. Maybe if enough people ask, they will. I did notice, folks, that Costco over the weekend, I was in Costco, they have Instapots. Now, I will say I never quite understood the Instapot craze, simply because I've had my electric pressure cooker for, I don't know, close to 20 years. And it does everything the Instapot does. So I never really understood the Instapot craze. But for anyone that does, they were quite cheap at Costco, about $149 or something. Very inexpensive compared to the prices they usually are, which made me wonder if it wasn't a superseded model. Okay, my favourite thing to can is anything I can get in a jar. Alrighty, Estelle. Okay. That's no good. All right. Okay. Oh, that's so good. You've got the preserving bug back. Yes. Yes. Well worth it. Well worth it. So good. It's preserving, whether you go all out and do a lot of preserving or whether you just make some jam, a couple of batches of jam, or you might do pickles. You might just dehydrate some banana slices. It's still a skill that you've learned and you are using, and it's still a benefit to you and your family. It's and often it means you can cross something off your shopping list because you know how to do it yourself. You don't have to be conned into buying it because some marketing gurus told you that you can't make it yourself, because you know jolly well that you can. All right. Yes, Zapple. And you can use zucchini to make imitation pineapple jam too, if you want to. Hi, Bobstar. How are you going? All right. Okay, let me flip back over. That's my canning plan. The last couple of years, I've almost pretty much stuck to it. Of course, as fast as I fill the cupboard, we empty it again because we use it. That's what it's there for. So I've increased the quantities that I'd like to do simply because it gives me a bit of a buffer. So that if this year, like last year, we had a terrible year for tomatoes last year. Even buying them was terrible. So I didn't get a lot of tomato sauce done. I didn't get a lot of pasta sauce done. This year, if we have a bumper crop of tomatoes, I will put up as many or as much as I can, because next year we might be back to a bad year again. Who knows? We're supposed to be going into a El Nino. I get these two confused. El Nino. So we, we'll have a hot summer, which is great for tomatoes. They love the heat. We do need to shade them so they don't get sunburnt. You've got to keep the water up to them, but they just love the heat. But you wouldn't know it to live here at the moment, because it's been cold until yesterday and wet, which I'm grateful for because I haven't had to do a lot of watering, hand watering. So I've been moving pots in and out and under and round about. I had to water them yesterday. But that's also been good for our berries, because the raspberries and the black currants have taken off. Loads of little raspberries. So that's really good. I got the nets out to cover those this morning. All that sort of thing. So they will be preserved. There's plenty of things that we can do. And if I have to buy some of the things that we need to preserve, well, so be it. I can't grow everything. I can't grow everything, and I can't grow enough of everything to not only keep us going in fresh food, but preserve it as well. So I'm on a suburban block. I do what I can, and I guess that's the best that any of us can do. That's all any of us can do, is the best that we can. So, all right. Let me see. Have I missed anything? Just checking my notes, guys. Okay. So I will probably post up a more detailed list in the Members Centre for you. I might need to take a step back. Looking at the numbers, I get a little bit concerned, But, you know, I have a whole year to do it. It's not going to be done all at once. My plan is to do what I've done the last couple of years, you know, tackle it the way you'd eat an elephant, one bite or one job at a time. So I'll stick to the plan and it will get done, and the pantry shelves will be full. They will be overflowing with beautiful, shelf-stable, ready-to-eat food for my family, and it will be good for at least 2 years. Now, that 2 years is the official time. They will be good for a lot longer, and that gives me peace of mind. It gives us food security to do that, and know that's there. Alrighty, so I've gone over, have I? Oh no, not quite. Anyway, thank you so much for watching all the way through. There are 3 simple things you can do: like, subscribe, share. They all help our channel grow and be recognised more easily. And of course, the easier it is for people to find us, the easier it is for us to spread the message that it is not only possible, but absolutely okay to live life debt-free, cashed up and laughing, even in 2023 with ridiculous inflation and craziness going on all around us. We can still live a good life without going into debt. All right, if you need to leave us, I'll be back next week with another Cheapskates Club video that will hopefully help you save money, time and energy. Have a great week. And now we'll flick over to the after show. So if you're going, I'll see you soon. Otherwise, just let me flip over, do what I've got to do here to get back, and we can keep the conversation going. Okay. I've often wondered what Kung Pao chicken is. I could have Googled it, I suppose. I just haven't, because with the interwebs, the world is now a very small place. Night Delaney, sleep well, and I hope you get a good rest. The interwebs, the world's a really small place, so we know all these other things, but I have no idea what it is. I've often wondered what it was and how it would work, but good that he could make it himself off the shelf. So how much money would that keep in your pocket? Kylie, Inigo Jones must be 498 years old. I can't believe he's still around. Maybe he's not that old, but he's been around forever. Cover them, and I just programmed one of the tip of the days is a fruit fly. Give me a second. Oh, where did it go? Oh, no. What did I do with it? Oh. I just posted it. I thought, oh, that's good. I should post that recipe. Now I can't. Oh, maybe I did it for next year. Nope. Okay, fruit fly trap. Plastic jar or bottle, peanut butter jar is good. Make small holes in the lid. Make up a mixture of a teaspoon of Vegemite and 1 tablespoon of cloudy ammonia mixed in about 2 centimeters of water in the bottom of the jar. Hang the traps in your trees. Empty and wash them out each week and then refill them. He says you can also use beer in the traps if you have it. We'd never have beer, so I thought That's really interesting. So there you go. Did you get that? Peanut butter jar, teaspoon of Vegemite, tablespoon of cloudy ammonia, 2 centimeters of water, hang them in the trees. Oh, holes in the lid so that you can Night Mary. Oh, Pinterest, Pat. Try that. Yeah, try that, Aradia. See how it goes. Tegan, I've never canned because I found it intimidating. Okay. Pressure canning is a science. And it has to do with food, the internal temperature of the center of the food reaching a particular temperature and maintaining that particular temperature for long enough to kill botulism spores. So with botulism, most things need oxygen to survive. Botulism thrives in a vacuum. No oxygen, it thrives. So if you were to put your meat or chicken or whatever in a jar and just water bath it, it forms the vacuum, which is great because your other bugs won't survive, but your botulism will. And we all know botulism kills. It's not nice, it kills. This is a very broad explanation too, by the way. It's not at all in detail. So you want the food in your jar, the internal temperature of the center of the jar, to get hot enough and maintain that heat for long enough to actually kill the botulinum spores. You can look it up, but that is why you need to pressure can low acid foods like your meats and things like that. High acid, you can water bath. The acid will do the job for you. But low acid foods, you run the risk. And I know there's people out there that say, oh, no, you can water bath it and you just boil it for 3.5 hours, yada, yada, yada. And maybe that's what they used to do. But people used to die from food poisoning. Food poisoning was quite common, where it's not anymore. These days it makes the news. You know, before it was just put on a death certificate. So it's entirely up to you, but that's why you need to pressure can. So if you look up Rose Red Homestead, Pam does the best explanation of it. Lisa from Sutton's Days does a good explanation too, but Pam's is better. She's the scientist, so she has the better explanation that you can sort of understand, if that makes sense. So anything like your starches, your fillers, anything like that thickens when it gets hot, doesn't allow the heat to penetrate the center long enough to kill the botulism. Oh, rat in the house. Oh. Rain Country has a great video on dehydrating eggs. She explains it really well. She talks about how to whip them up or beat them up, what to do with them is really, really good, and how to powder them so they're safe. Yeah, dehydrated eggs. I remember using years ago when we were first married, egg powder. It was disgusting. It was just disgusting, and it sort of put me off. I've never tried to dehydrate them. I've always wanted to, and I've always said, because it's me, if I get enough eggs cheap enough, I'll try it. Well, I've never had enough eggs cheap enough to try it. So I'm glad it's working for you, Paula, though. That sounds good. What is this going on? Um, rats. We have neighbours, nice people. We have neighbours, and they are not gardeners, and they tend to let their backyard go. So once a year they'll get a guy in with a slasher, and he'll just go slash everything, and it nearly drives me nuts because you can see the spiders and the mice and the lizards and the rats coming just over the fence, through the fence, under the fence. I just nearly go nuts when it happens. And my neighbour on the other side, she goes insane too. Annabelle says, eggs are where freeze drying is perfect. Yes. If I'm not 100% confident I can't eat them, yeah. I don't know. Annabelle, have you tried whole meals? As in, have you cooked a stew and freeze dried it and then rehydrated it? I'm sort of thinking I'd really like to try that more for when we travel. I'd love to know how it would work. I really want one. I want one. Yeah, they do cost a lot, Paula. And the other question is, if anyone has a freeze dryer and can answer me, have you got the oilless pump, or did you just go with the base model and you have to put the oil and change the oil or whatever that is? I'm still learning about it because that extra oil-free pump, oilless pump, whatever it's called, is very expensive. It adds another nearly $4,000 to the cost. Yeah, we've tried some of the camping store freeze-dried meals, and they are disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. Never tried MREs. Don't have anyone in the military close enough for me to say, can I try them? But we've tried the camping store ones, and they are just revolting. I'm wondering if it's not a texture thing. Premier pump. That's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm thinking, Annabelle, because you don't need to drain it and change the oil and fiddle faddle around with it after every use, do you? You can just do it every so often. There used to be a place in a company in Gippsland called Happy Camper who did vacuum sealed meals. And they did things like meatballs and lamb shanks, and they had a stew that Wayne particularly liked. They were very expensive, unless you got them on sale. But they were actually edible and really nice. And the good thing about those was you could heat them in the bag. So you just boiled your pot of water and put the bag in. But they went out of business. Someone tried to buy them, and I don't know what happened. I guess it depends on how you preserve your food now and how much preserving you do. Now, I've always done a lot of freezing as preserving. I want to get away from freezing. I don't want to have freezers. I would like to be able to get down to just the freezer over the fridge. So get rid of the big one, the giant one, the small one. Just the freezer over the fridge is what I would like to have, so that we are less reliant on electricity, and when the power goes out, we're not stressing about running the genie all the time, simply because right now we're still in the city. It's not our end goal, and it's not our dream. It's just the way things have worked out. If we were in 1,000 acres in the middle of nowhere, then it wouldn't be an issue. But here it would be an issue. So I want to get away from being freezer reliant for food preservation. I really, really, really want to be less reliant on the grid for my food, because I have a lot of money tied up in the freezers, even still, and we're eating them down. I'm not filling them as much. It's very stressful knowing that there's so much money invested in those freezers, and not just the actual cash, but my time, my energy, the electricity, the gas, whatever, the vacuum seal bags. I want to get less freezer reliant. I want to be, if I could just go back to having just the top of the fridge, would be perfectly fine. The grid everywhere is failing, yeah. We had power outage yesterday morning for about 2 hours, 2.5 hours for some reason. I'd turned the dishwasher on, I'd turned the washing machine on, I'd got the vacuum out, and the flour went out. And I went, oh, that must have been a sign for me to sit down and do something else. Night, Cheryl. Sleep well. I don't know, Trina, I don't know why someone in Australia can't make pressure canners. Why do we have to import them? Why isn't there someone here? We used to have Namco would make pressure cookers. They were just down the road from me, not about 25 minutes away from me. Huge factory where they made pots and pans, and they actually made them there. And the pressure cookers, it became, we were sold out when it became cheaper to bring stuff in from overseas than it was to buy something made here. It should not be cheaper to buy anything imported than it is to buy the equivalent here. And yes, I know people are going to say, but the wages here are so much higher. I don't give a flying fruit that. If the wages here are higher, then the price of the import needs to be higher. It should not be cheaper to import anything we can grow, manufacture, produce, make, imagine here. And that goes for any country. It shouldn't be cheaper for New Zealand to do it, or Canada, or the USA, or England, or Italy, or anywhere. Our imports, if it's something that we are capable of doing, our imports should not be cheaper. They just shouldn't be. It does our country a huge disservice to have that attitude. And as for this baloney about free trade agreements, no, there's no such thing as free trade. It's all baloney. Follow the money and see who's benefiting from it, because it's not you and it's not me. So there should be someone in Australia able to make pressure cookers. There should be someone in Australia able to make freeze dryers. But for whatever reason, that sort of industry is no longer supported by our government, whichever government. None of them support local industry. They just don't. I'd rather lobby for not having Black Friday sales What a crock. Absolute crock, Black Friday sales. Absolute. Because now we had the Black Friday sales and everybody was happy because people were spending money. And now what have we heard? Or nothing this week. Last week and this week, nothing but Christmas retail sales are going to be down for Christmas. Retailers are panicking. Well, perhaps if retailers hadn't had their sales in November and had left their prices like they were, did their usual December sales, and then waited to put everything on sale on Boxing Day like they should, and as has been the tradition, they wouldn't be panicking about not having good figures for December, for Christmas. You can't have your cake and eat it too. They might think they can, but they can't. Okay. Yeah, I'm off my high horse now. Sorry. How much does it cost to run your Blue Eddy? Have you figured that yet? Just out of curiosity. You don't have to say on here. You can just, if you message me or something. I'm just curious. He will need a hobby and he will need a little bit of pocket money, Kylie. I think that's a great idea. If he can design and make a pressure canner that is Australian, I'll buy one. I'll be his first customer. Kylie. It would be wonderful. Or a freeze dryer, I would be his first customer. And you know what? Even if I had to pay the same amount, freeze dryer, it's going to run me about $15,000. I was looking at it, and that's a lot of money. But even if I had to pay that for an Australian one, I'd do it. I'd rather buy Australian than buy made anywhere else. Our responsibility, what is it? We need to look after ourselves. If we don't look after ourselves, we can't look after anyone else. And that goes for us as people, as parents, as partners, as citizens. If we don't look after our country will not be in a position to help other nations when they need it. Right now, we're not looking after our country. We're certainly bending over backwards to help other nations, and I have no problem with that if we were able to do it without impacting negatively our own country, but we can't. So I would, your husband can do that, Kylie. I'm his number one customer. I'm going to pay a deposit. Gem, Beverly, she'd explode it. See, I was always that's why I got an electric pressure cooker, because I was very nervous about it exploding, and they assured me my electric one wouldn't explode. I went, okay, good. I can live with that, but jam, oh, what a mess. An absolute mess. No, I don't, Estelle. You could use them to make 3-ingredient tea cake. So you've got apricots, flour, and cold tea or milk or whatever you want to use. or you could stew them. You could stew them and turn them into jam if you wanted to, or you could dip them in chocolate and eat them, or you could chop them up, and instead of making cranberry hooty creeks, make apricot hooty creeks. You could stew them up in a little water, no sugar or anything, just a little water, and puree them to make apricot sauce, which would make apricot chicken. Keep some aside and use the whole apricots in the sauce for the apricot chicken. Lots of things to do. Hi Maddie, how are you? Glad you could join us. Blue Eddy solar, so it's pretty much free. Yes, okay. It's just I've had in my digging and diving, there's those who love them and those who don't, and I just wondered. Yep. Cool on the dehydrator, $15. Bargain. Depends which size you get, Trina. Let me see. Give me a second, guys. I've got to lean over. Sorry. Because my cameras are mucking up, I've got everything all over the place tonight. Depends which size. My fingers are just too fast. Canners, freeze dryers. Okay, if you want the extra large, it's 15,550. If you want a large, which is a new model, it has 6 trays now, it's 8,995. You can go stainless for 9,395, or you can just get the medium for 8,145, and then the pump is the oilless pump is 3,195. It's on sale at the moment for 2,715. Oh, well, and it's sold out anyway. So, it's an investment, but I'm thinking that I don't smoke, I don't drink, I don't gamble. I do spend a lot of money on craft supplies, but I use them. We don't travel overseas. Our holidays are budget friendly. We're not extravagant in a lot of things, and I look at it as an investment in our family, because hopefully our family's expanding, and so it will benefit more through the generations, is what I'm hoping. It's not like buying a popcorn maker, or a rice cooker. I saw a rice cooker the other day. It was $150 for a rice cooker, folks. You can get them for $12 at Kmart. And why can't you just cook it in a pot on the stove? Anyway, it's not a throwaway thing. It's not something that you would buy on a whim. You would really want to use it, and you would really make yourself use it. I know that I would use it. It would be going all the time. and it would be an extension of our pantry. So that's how I'm looking at it, and or justifying it to myself. So no, because they were about that 5 years ago when I first started looking. They haven't gone up much. They've gone up maybe $1,000. I did think about, because I have family overseas in America, I did think about, can they ship one to me? But the whole power thing is a real issue, apparently. I don't know why you can't just use a travel adapter and be done, but apparently you can't. So little repair shops, yeah, nobody repairs anything anymore. They are still around, though, I'm pretty sure. Beverly, you just have to hunt them out. No, Rhiannon, I've not tried eggs in lime powder. I have to say, I'm not that brave. Estelle says it works brilliantly. Ooh, Rocky Road. Apricot cream pie, apricot cheesecake. Kylie, now I want apricots. These yummies. Everyone has chickens. And yet, in a couple of months, everyone will want eggs. Can you freeze them? Are you able to freeze them? I've frozen before. Yeah, you can't use bought eggs, commercial eggs. Yes, Harvest Right. There is another brand, but it hasn't had good reviews, and I can't always find it. There is a commercial freeze dryer that's made here, but it's commercial freeze dryer. It's the size of your bathroom. It's and it's, well, not quite the size of your bathroom, but it's huge. And I don't know. It's about, it doesn't look as solid. Now, Mark from Self Sufficient Me, I watched when he got his freeze dryer and he unpacked it and set it up and did all that. I've watched that video a few times, and the actual quality, if that's the word, seems really, really good. Our kids really have a vitamin A deficiency. Okay. Well, it's just another thing to cause panic, I think. Yeah, after 25 years, I think it's the food security. Our food security isn't great. We talk about food security meaning in our pantries, but the safety of our food is not that good. There's a lot goes into food that we don't know about. I would, I like the idea of long-term food storage. Yes, I am. I do. We go off all over the place. We've got January. Got to wait till January now. But I was working on my. Oh, I can tell you guys because you'll. Oh no, I was working on our next year plans for next year, and we leave on the 18th of May, and we'll be back around the end of July, and then I'm away again for a couple of weeks in September, and then I'm away again in November. So I've got a very busy year next year being away. Tegan, freeze dryers, home freeze dryers are so new, still very new, that I don't think anyone has had one more than maybe 10 years. So they are very, very new. So I don't know what their life expectancy would be, but it would need to be longer than that for that investment. You can parboil them, Yvonne. You can parboil them, drain them, and freeze them. You can cook them and mash them. If you're going to mash them, you need to mash them. The best way is to mash them with a little butter. And if you've got cream cheese, Philly cheese, or thickened cream instead of milk, that seems to hold them together better, because mashed potato can sometimes turn a bit runny when it thaws. So butter and cream cheese to hold them together, that works well. Or you can halve them and parboil them and roll them in a little olive oil and rosemary and freeze them, and then just bake them from frozen in the oven. Do the same with your wedges or chips, so that you're like sort of making oven fries. So you're par cooking them before you freeze them. They thaw so much better if you can do that. Yeah, there's repair cafes. There's one in Melbourne. There was on the news a couple of weeks ago. Where is it? Somewhere. It's attached to a men's shed, I think, and they lost their funding, so they were struggling to get funding to be able to stay open. Oh, you saw Mark too, Annabelle. It was just lovely, just lovely. I do enjoy his videos. I enjoy the information. I like getting information. So that's really good. And that's Mark from Self-Sufficient Me, for people who are not sure. He has 2 YouTube channels. Yes, mozzies are nasty, and I think it will be a bad year for them. $15 a can? Seriously? $15? No. No. $15? And here was me thinking I'd get a can of salmon for Wayne's lunches this week. Nope, you can go salmonless. $15? Oh my gosh. It's cheaper to get on the ferry, go to Tassie, buy salmon over there and come home. Oh my goodness. $15. It was for the tall can. I'm assuming it was for the tall can. And it was red, not pink. Well, the other thing that occurred to me, I don't have one yet, so, this is all up in the air. But the other thing that occurred to me is I could charge people to freeze dry their food, much like someone with a long arm would charge a quilter to quilt their quilt. I could charge people to freeze dry their food. That would help pay for it. I don't know how much I'd have to charge them though. I'd have to think about it. But it did just pop into my head. And then a friend mentioned it the other day. When I get my freeze dryer, she'll pay me to do her food. And she'll have to come and do her own. Yeah, everywhere's supply is down everywhere. Supply is down everywhere, I think. I may be old and grayer by the time I get one, Trina. But I think I would love. It's something I've wanted for 5 years, probably a bit longer, because COVID messed with my head. So I lost a block of time with COVID. $10, ouch. You will get there. You will get there. It's a new way of shopping and a new way of preparing your meals, but you will get there. Give yourself a break. You will get there. Start off with simple things. And that's probably easy for me to say because I don't buy much that's highly processed. Baked beans in a can, tomato soup in a can. I buy pineapple in a can because fresh pineapple in Victoria is just ridiculously priced. And we go through so much of it. Make your own cheeses, because that sounds ridiculous, because cheese shouldn't be overly processed, but read the packets. Some of them are terrible. Self-Sufficient Me is a wonderful channel, yes. $15 a can. Tall can, okay. Yes, I wouldn't do anything illegal. At least I'd try not to. They're still not cheap though over time, given the cost of your dry ice, and how much you need to bring your food down to temperature. Because the secret with freeze drying is the food has to be it's frozen, and then they suck the moisture out of it, and I don't know how they suck the moisture out of it because the technicalities go, but there still needs to be enough moisture left in it so that it can rehydrate. Because if it is bone dry, for instance, it doesn't rehydrate properly. There's a process to it. And some foods are better if they are frozen before before they go into the freeze dryer. Some can just go into the freeze dryer. It's all very technical. It's because you're an hour behind us, Jane. All right. Okay. So, yes, I'm away in May, June, July, September. May, June, July. Anyway, we'll still have videos, we'll have shows, because by then we will have our Starlink, and I will be able to talk to you from anywhere in Australia. I won't have to rely on Telstra, da 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 da. Won't that be exciting? If you've over dried your veggies, they will be very, very tough. And it will take a lot of water and a lot of soaking to get them not quite so tough. Yeah. With your dehydrating, you want the veggies to be crisp, snap, but you don't want them to be so hard you can't break them. Does that make sense? You don't want them to be pliable and twisty. So you're doing a carrot, it has to snap. It doesn't have to twist, if that makes sense. The mug came from TK Maxx, and it cost, I think it was about $5. $6, $5.99. But it's and I splurged and I got the spoon rest that matches it. So that's the extent of my kitchen Christmas decor at the moment. We did get the Christmas tree up last week and the wreath on the door, but not much else. Ouch. Dentists have been campaigning really quite strongly the last few months to get dental covered by Medicare, which would be a really good thing. Okay, I don't know what that was. I've lost it. Yeah, so don't over dry your food. If you think it's, let it snap, but don't make it so dry that you actually can't break it. And before you jar them up or vacuum seal them, let them come down to room temperature so that there's no condensation when you bag them or jar them. All right. Okay, yes, so while we're away, I will be hopefully, don't tell me I can't do it if it's cloudy, because that will just distress me. I'll be able to talk to you from where? I'll be able to talk to you from Winton, because we're going to head out that way to visit the Dinosaur Museum. I could talk to you from Longreach, because we will be in Longreach. I can talk to you from the Stockman's Hall of Fame. If anyone ever gets to go to Longreach, do go to the Stockman's Hall of Fame. It is the most interesting place. I can't wait to go back. I actually, the first time we were there, I met the daughter of the man who started it, and we're having a lovely chat, or she wanted to know where we're from and all about it. And I actually said to her, I would rather have paid for my kids to go on a school trip to Longreach to the Stockman's and Qantas Museum than go to Canberra. I'd have paid double for them to do that for their school trip, because that Canberra trip was waste. Sorry. I don't know why they take kids to Canberra. It's really interesting. So if you ever get to Longreach, And it is a long way away, I know, but well worth going to the Stockman's Hall of Fame and to the Qantas Museum. And I can't wait to get back there. Then you can go to Muttaburra and follow the dinosaur trail. Or I could talk to you from Birdsville, or I could talk to you from the tip of Cape York. We will be all around there. Where else will we be? Cooktown. If anyone's ever in Cooktown, the Cooktown Museum is fascinating, absolutely fascinating. And Cooktown itself is a lovely little spot. Bamaga, Seisha, you want to go over to Thursday Island, is beautiful. Anywhere up there. So we'll have Starlink, so I should be able to stay in touch with you all wherever we go for however long we travel. Will be good. Anyway, I am going to sign off because I'm running out of oomph. I've been awake since early this morning. I had a busy day. So Harvey Bay, I've got Harvey Bay on my list, Jane, for on our homeward journey. I've got Harvey Bay. So it's on my list. Probably be the end of June. Just in case you're planning to go away. So yeah. All right. Have a great week, everyone. Make up a canning, preserving plan, even if it's just to make jam. It gives you a goal, something to work for, and it keeps you focused, helps build your pantry. And you will all help keep me on track, because I'm sure some of you will keep asking me about it, which I will appreciate. Okay. Our van's only little too. So I'll see you next Tuesday. If not before. I'm trying to think. I was going to do something. Oh, I've got a Christmas one, but I don't know whether I'll do it live or not. Anyway, a Christmas video all written out. That's what I was working on this afternoon. Okay, I'll see you next week. I'm just waffling now, talking to myself. Have a great week, everyone. Stay cheap, and remember, happy cheapskating.